So hello everyone, we are back again with our latest video on SQL tutorial Ebikacho by Ebikacho Groups. And in this particular video, we are going to construct our own age calculator application in SQL Server. And this you can provide as your projects also in your resume, and you can also use this for your personal use or for showing off to your friends and all. So how to construct a age calculator in SQL Server, we will go and check. So now move on to SSMS quickly and check. So if means age calculator means whatever be your date of birth, like any date of birth you have put, like we have put here my own date of birth, which is 1996 January and 12th January 1996. Okay, so with date and time we are providing the if date of birth, then we expect what will be our age today. Okay, so like this the application will work. Like when you execute this SP, then you will get a output like your age, and then hello my friend, you have reached 29 years, 3 months, 3 days, 3 hours, 3 minutes and 3 seconds today. And this will give you current date and time, your age regarding to the current date and time. So how to construct this particular calculator at your SQL server, we will check in today's video. Okay, now move and open a new query window, and then we will write a query for this. So create new query. So basically, let's take, you need you have 2 days. Okay, so current date is today's date, and one date that you will feed as the input as your date of birth. Okay, so first of all, declare two variables which will hold our dates. Okay, so declare, which first variable will be the start date, and this will be date time, data type. Okay, and then date time, data type, and then the second date, which will be today's date, will be our end date. So end date, end end date, end date, and this will also be date time. Okay, now first initialize these particular value with certain record, so that we will use to check the records if they are matching or not. So just give any random date here. So like we are giving 2023, and then let's take 10 month, and then 15th date or 13th date. Okay, and now time we will give something like 10 a.m. and then 20 minutes and then 35 seconds. Okay, and then this end date will be today's date, so this will be get date. Okay, get date, get date, get date. Okay, this till here everything is clear. Now we will first of all find out the year, how to find the year. Okay, so for year, what we will do, so first we are finding out the year. So first of all, write a select statement. So select, and then here in command part we will mention the year. Okay, so the code will be clear to you. Now for year, what we can do, we can find the date difference, date diff. And these date and time functions we have already taught in our previous videos, so you can go and check the date and time function video, so that this particular concept will be much clearer to you. Okay, so here we are going to use the date time functions, and also we are going to use the store procedures. So these videos I will recommend you to first go through them, and then start creating your age calculator, so that it will be very good for you to learn, and you will understand also very much. Okay, so now for year, what we will do, first of all we will find the date diff and the year. Okay, and then year between date difference between the start date and end date. Okay, so start date comma the end date. Okay, so what this will provide to us, so this will provide us the 2 years. Okay, but basically from here you can see the 2 years has not been completed, because the 2023 is in October month and currently it's April for 2025. So it is less than 2 years. Okay, so 1 year something has happened. To handle that particular thing, what we need to add, so there are two conditions in which the year is not completed. So first condition is like, then we will write minus, and then we will add the case statement. So for case statement also we have created one video, you can go and check that also. So we will write a case statement for this. So what will be our case statement, so case, and the first case is when the month part of start date, okay, when the month part of start date is greater than the month part of end date, means current date in our case, okay. So if the start date, month part of start date is greater than the month part of end date, that means the year has not been completed, okay. And one more case will come, like, or we can add here in this case statement itself, like the second case will be if the month of start and end date are similar, okay, month of start and end date are similar, are equal, but if the day part of start date is greater than day part of the end date. So be clear in this query. So this query is very important. Or this month of start date is equals to month of end date, and okay, so and or operators also we have taught in our previous videos, so you can go and check that also, okay. So month part of start date is equals to month part of end date, and day of day will provide the day of start and end date. So day of start date is greater than day of end date. So in that case also the year has not been completed. If the months are equal and they are different, means day of start date is greater than the day of end date, then also the year is not completed. So now this will provide us a exact record of what year has happened, okay. So as year, now year is completed, execute this, end as, sorry, end as year. Now execute this and check if the year is coming fine or not. Okay, else part is also missing, so else part we need to add. So else 0, okay. So if these are the cases, then case when month start date is greater than month end date, or month start date is equals to month end date, and day of start date is greater than day of end date, then we need to subtract 1. So subtract 1 from this year part, okay. And or else if this particular condition is not true, then subtract 0, means the year that is coming is fine, okay. Now execute this and check. So here the year part is coming as 1, okay. So 1 year has been completed. Now we will move on to the month part, how to calculate the month part, okay. So for month part, so I'm doing separate queries because it will be much clearer to everyone, okay. So now the month month part, okay. So for finding out the month part, what we will do, we will do the date diff of month of date diff month of start date and end date, okay. So we will copy from here, comma, start date and end date. So month part here we will find out, and then we will do the modulus of 12, because in a year 12 months are there, and the modulus operator, what it will provide, it will provide the remainder. So when we divide the month, okay, date diff month between this and this, start date and end date, and if that is that will provide any reminder, okay, means if modulus will provide any result, then there are some months which are coming after the year, okay. So from this we will extract all the remaining months from that year, from the previous year, okay. So by doing the modulus, but one case can happen here also. So what kind of case will happen? So it can be possible, like like you can see, like currently it's 15th, okay. So now if you change the date, okay, so let's change it and show you example what we need to handle here. So 2024, okay, and then we can give, we will take 2025 itself now, 2025, and then previous month is March, okay. So March 17th till today's 15th, so it has not completed 1 month, but here it will provide some reminder, okay. So we will check as month, okay. So if we leave till here, then what will happen, then we are getting, see, 1 month has not been completed because 2 days are remaining, okay. So for handling that, what we need to add, so we need to add one condition also here. So what we will add, like then if modulus we will find, and then subtract. So what value we need to subtract? So we will write the case statement for that. So case when day part of start date, okay, so day part of start date is greater than day part of end date. So in that case only it can happen, otherwise it will not happen. So end date case, when date part of start date is greater than date part of end date, then what we need to consider, then subtract 1, okay, then 1 else 0, means subtract 1 means that is not a complete month, the day is still coming to that part, okay. So then 1, if this condition is true, then 1 else 0 as end as month. So now when we execute this, so here 0 year and 0 month, okay. So it is showing the correct thing, because no year has been 2025 we have taken the start date, and third month we have taken March month. So till March and April the month is not yet completed, okay. So because here the date is 17, okay. So this is providing the correct date, means correct result till now. So till month it is clear. Now move on to the day part, okay. So for day part what we need, so for day part we need like the end date day minus the start date day, when each of the records become similar. So for this what we will do, like day of end date, day of end date, okay. So this is a very important concept, okay. So be clear on this. So day part of end date minus what, minus day part of, okay. First we will do what, first we will make this particular start date similar to the end date, okay. Now we will move this particular date to our previous date, so that the example will be clear to us, okay. So what we will do, so we will first convert this particular date start date equal to the end date according to the month, means month and year of both of them we will keep similar, and then we will find out the day difference, okay. So making the month part similar, month of the start date similar to that of end date, month and year of start date and end date, what we need to do, we need to add months between, months which are available between start date and end date. So for that what we will do, so now minus the day part, and day part where we want, so day part of we want the date add, okay. Date add, what we will add, month we will add, okay, month. And then from where, so how much month we will add, so this will come from this result, date diff month between, date diff of month between start date and end date, okay. So copy this and then paste this, okay. So you are getting this particular query, that we are finding the, we are adding date add we are doing, and adding the month to the start date, comma month, comma the start date, okay. And we are adding the number of months which are between this start and end date into the start date, and then finding out the date difference between the end date and start date, okay. So this is clear to everyone. Now move on, how many, this one is fine, this one is fine, then here comma is missing, okay. And then as the day part, okay, as the day, okay. Now execute this and check what result we are getting. So we are getting day in -2, okay. So why do we are getting like this, because it is providing the previous day date, okay. So because the start date day is greater than the end date day, so this also we need to handle. So for handling this what we will do, we will add up previous month last date to the end date, and then we will subtract that sum to the current date, to the start date day, to the start date day, okay. So that we will get the exact date. So for doing that what we need to add, we need to add a case statement. So what will be our case statement in this case, so now what we will do, we will add up the previous month last date. So for previous month last date what we need to do, so we need to write like case when when day of end date is less than day of start date. Okay, day of start date. When day of end date is less than day of start date, then what we need to do? Then add, what we need to add? We need to add the day of EO month. So EO month function we have already discussed in previous one. So EO month is providing the last date of the current month, which month you will provide. So for that month it will provide the last date. Okay, so EO month and EO month of what? EO month of this particular thing. Date add, date add, date add, and then the month, and then date diff of month of start date and end date. We will copy from here, of a start date and end date, and this will be added up to the start date, comma, the start date. Okay, and we need the last date of the previous month. So here we need to subtract 1, minus 1, because we need the last date of the previous month, not the current month. Okay, so now close the parenthesis. Okay, so this is clear. And now then if this particular condition is there, like day of end date is greater than day of the is less than the day of start date, then we need to add the last date of the previous month of that start date. Okay, and then we will end as date, then itna, then this, else end as date. Okay, now when we execute this, so what we are getting? Incorrect syntax near end. So what mistake we are doing here? Case when d is equal to itna, then this one, else 0, else 0, we don't need to add anything, else 0, end as day. Okay, so this is clear for day. Now execute this. So here we are getting 29 days. Okay, so 29 days difference are there between current date and previous date. So how 29 days? So 15 days from this month, and from previous month we will extract other 14 days. Okay, 14 days, and then 15 days from here. So remaining are 14 days, 17 plus 14, 31, and then current month 15 days. So 29 days we are getting. So this is clear. Now date part is clear. Now we will find out the hour part. So how to find out the hours, hour difference? So for hour difference, what we need to do? First of all, write a comma sign here, and then for hour part we need the date difference, date diff, and then in hour we want the date difference. So what we will do here, we will cover the start date, make the start date similar to that of end date according to days. Okay, according to days both we will make similar, and then we will find out the hour difference. Okay, so this is clear. So for doing that, how we will do that? So date diff hour, and hour between which, so between the this date, so date add, and then date add, then we need to add the day, and then we need to find the date difference based on day of start date and end date. Okay, so this will provide us the date difference between start date and end date, and this particular date we will add up in the start date. Okay, so this will make start date and end date similar in terms of days. Okay, and the hour part is different. Okay, this, so parenthesis will need to be checked very well, because a lot of parentheses are used here. So comma, and then this date difference, this particular date, this is the date we are making the start date similar to that of end date, and then we are finding out the date diff hour between this particular date and the end date. Okay, and the end date. Now this is as hour, as hour. Okay, now execute this and check how we are getting the result. So we are getting the exact result, like 2 days 0 month, and 2 years 0 month, 29 days and 10 hour. So there is a possibility that the hour of the start date is greater than the hour of the end date. So for handling that, similarly we need to add here also the same case statement. Then what we need to do, we need to add up 24 hours in the end date, and from that we will subtract the hour part of the start date. So for that, what we will do, we will add, and then what we will add, so write a case statement, case when the hour part of, when date part. So see, date part also we have discussed in the date time function. So you need to check the date time function very well, otherwise this particular calculator is not possible for you while you are giving the interview or something. Okay, so understanding each of the date functions is very much important for this. Okay, so case when date part hour, so date part will provide the date part, that particular part of that particular date. So date part hour we will find out for which, for the start date. Okay, so case when date part hour of start date is greater than date part and then hour of the end date, hour comma end date. So when this is the condition, then what we need to apply, then we need to add 24 hours. Okay, so date part hour start date is greater than date part hour of end date, then add up 24, else 0. Okay, else 0 and as hour. Okay, now when we execute this will provide us proper result. So even currently it's 20:47, means 8:47 p.m. as we are working from India, so we have this particular time zone. So now currently we have provided start date time as 10 a.m. So we will convert it to 23. Okay, 23 p.m. So now when we execute this, we will get a exact proper result, 21 hour. So how 21 hour came? So 21 hour means 20 hours from this particular time and 1 hour from this remaining hours. Okay, so this is clear. Now check the minute part, how we will find out. So even if the that start date hour is greater than the end date hour, then also we are handling this from this particular case statement. Okay, so this is clear. We are adding this particular hour to the end date and then subtracting this with the start date hour. Okay, now for the minute part, similarly, so once you get the logic for the date part, now day part, then you will automatically understand the logic for hour, minute and second part. Okay, so both, all the four are almost same to each other. Okay, now the minute part. So minute part, how we will find out? So for minute part we need the date difference, and then in minute we want, and here we will convert the start date similar to that of end date in terms of hour. So how to convert that? So minute difference, from which we want from date add, and then date add hour, where to how many hours we want date diff, and then date diff hour between the start date and end date. We will copy from here. Okay, so this project you can provide while you're in your resume also. Okay, like calculator we have created and all, and also if you have some HTML knowledge, then you can host this particular calculator in a website, on a website, and you can use from there also. So that practicals also we will bring once we are going to work on the website development and all, or application development courses and all. So we will enroll very soon once we will complete the SQL part, and once we are going to achieve some more and more subscriber, then we are going to launch those series also. So don't worry about that, everything you will get at this channel itself. Now for move on to the minute part. Okay, so minute and then date add hour, date difference, hour between start date and end date, and this particular thing we will add to the start date. Okay, so add this to start date and then do the date diff between this start date and the end date. Okay, so this is clear. Our the here comma is missing. Okay, so date diff minutes date add, then hour part, then date diff hour start date end date comma the start date, and then single single parenthesis is enough, then comma the end date. Okay, so date diff we are finding between this particular hour, this particular hour, and this particular thing, this particular date and this particular date. Okay, so in terms of hour we have made the start date similar to that of end date, and then we are finding out the difference between the minutes. Okay, and now put it as minute, minute, minute. Okay, now execute this. So here the case is same. Here also there is a possibility that the start date minute is greater than the end date minute. So for handling that, what we will do, we will write a case statement. Okay, so now write the case statement for handling the minute part also. So then what we will do, we will add up 60 to the current to the end date minute, and then including the 60 minutes we will subtract it from the start date minute, then we will get the exact minute. So for that, how we will do, then add up case when date part, when date part minute of start date, date part minute of start date is greater than the date part. So exception handling is very must in this particular SQL thing. So you must know how to handle each and every exception, because this will be helpful while you are going to work also. Okay, not only in interviews but also when you are going to do a work in real time works. So at that time also you will need the need this particular error handling or exception handling very much in SQL SPs and all, when you are going to write SPs and all for any product. So at that time it is very important. Okay, so here what we have written, so case when date part minute of start date is greater than date part minute of end date, then we need to add, so then we will add 60, else we will add nothing, 0, and then end as minute. Okay, so this will provide us the exact result. So till here we have completed year, month, day, hour, and minute. Now move on to the second part. So second part is also similar to them. So now we will move for the second part. Okay, so SECOND second part. So second, how we will find out, so date diff similar thing, only just the change of parameters, like second here SECOND second, and then date part, then here we will match this start date and end date based on minutes, and then find the second difference. Okay, so date part minute, date add, sorry, not date part, we are going to add update, so date add. Okay, then minute, 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 and from minute where we want, how much minute we want, so diff date diff minute between start date and end date. Okay, copy this from here and paste it here, and then comma, we will add this particular this much minute into the start date. Okay, at the rate start date. Okay, and then we will subtract this particular time, we will subtract from the end date. Okay, so at the rate end date. Now based on second, we are finding out the date difference between this start date matches to the end date in terms of minute, and then we are finding out the date difference of seconds. Okay, as second, SECOND second. Okay, now execute this. So here you can see the exception is there, the second part of the start date is greater than the second part of the end date. So this also we need to handle, otherwise we will get the negative results. Okay, so for handling this, similarly we need to write a case statement. So add, what we will add, we will add 60 when this particular start date second is greater than end date second. Okay, and then including the 60 we will subtract the 60 plus the end date and then subtract it from the start date second. Okay, so write down this like case when when date part date part of date part of date part, which date part, so second, date part second of the start date is greater than date part second of end date at the rate end date. Okay, then in that case what we will need, then in that case we will add up 60, then 60, because 60 seconds equals to 1 minute, so 60 we are adding, then 60, else nothing, means else 0, and then end as second. Okay, so this is clear to everyone, second part. Now execute this. Okay, so this is the query that we needed, and now how to convert it into a store procedure that we will use in our application and integrate this particular SP to our means application, and put the input like our date of birth and get our age, current age. Okay, so for doing that what we need to do, we need to copy this particular statement, select a statement, and copy this. Now move on to the next slide, and then we will create a store procedure on top of this particular query. Okay, so how to create a store procedure, so you can go and watch the store procedure video that we have loaded on our channel also before proceeding on that, because there we have explained each and every part of store procedure, types of store procedure, and how to create parameterized, non-parameterized store procedure and all. So that is a good video. So if you need means extended knowledge on store procedure, then you can go there. Okay, so now we will create a parameterized store procedure which will follow one parameter, that one date, it will date and time it will capture, and then provide the age in terms of year, month, day, minute, day, month, and hour, and minute, and second. Okay, so for doing that, now create a procedure. So create procedure or proc, and then proc name will be age underscore calcu calculator, age calculator. Okay, and then here we need one parameter which is our start date, and this will be date time. Okay, and the for getting the for comparing with different date, you can use two parameters like start date and end date also. Okay, so if you have a query like what will be my age at that particular time, so for that you will use two parameters, start date and end date, and put the input like your date of birth and then the date on which you want to check your date means age. And if you need to compare from the current date, okay, what will be my age today, then in that case you need to pass a single parameter. The like single parameter will work, because start date you will pass start date as the parameter, and then the next value which is the current date, so current date you can declare as a variable here. Okay, so what we will do, we will declare a variable end date as date time inside the SP. Okay, so after creating, then as, okay, as, and now inside the begin and end part, begin, and then here we are going to end. Okay, between this particular part you can declare the end date as get date for comparing the age from current date. Okay, otherwise if you have any specific date by which you are going to compare, then you can use this particular end date in the parameter. So that we will also show you in this particular example. Okay, so that will take 5-10 minutes more, not much. Okay, now create this and then try to execute this. Okay, So we will open a new query window, then we will execute exec. Okay, and let's take the age we need from like 2000. Someone has born in 2000, and then in January, and then 15 January, and the time will be like time they have born is around 3 p.m. Okay, 3 p.m. 30 minutes and 25 seconds, which is their exact date of birth. Okay, if someone is born on 15th January 2000, then what will be his age or her age today? Okay, now execute this and we will get the exact age, like 25 years 3 months 0 days 6 hours and 31 minutes 3 seconds. Okay, so this is clear. And if you want to make this as like this statement, so for that what you will do, so for that you can alter this procedure. Okay, alter this procedure, write a alter query for this, alter procedure, alter proc name, and then just you need to add a derived table. So select from, and make this select statement below as a derived table. Select from, and then parenthesis open, and then close the parenthesis here, and make it as a, and then as second, day and minute are keywords, so these are coming in different color, so we can make the column name as year 1, month 1, and then day 1, and then hour 1, and then minute 1, and then second one. So here we can write a statement like select, then hello viewer, please subscribe SQL tutorial SQL tutorial Avicacho Avicacho channel, as we are predicting predicting your age, which is and then one space, and then here you can concatenate the year, month and date. So for concatenating that, we need to first cast these particular date to varchar. Okay, because varchar will be concatenated with varchar. So how to cast them? So cast this particular year as varchar and then we will concatenate the year, this much years, and then concatenate the month part. First cast it, then how to cast? So cast month as varchar, and then concatenate it with this much months, and then we will cast the day part. So day 1, copy from the down query, day 1, cast day 1 as varchar, and then add days. Okay, and then cast the hour part. So cast hour 1. Okay, hour 1 as varchar, and then this is hours space hours, and then concatenate the minute and second part. So cast then we will copy the minute thing, minute 1, cast minute as varchar, and then concatenate this much minutes, and then concatenate the last thing, which is the second. Okay, so 1 second, we will add this. So second, we will cast first, cast second as varchar, and then concatenate SECONDS seconds today. Okay, so by this as abkcho age prediction age prediction. Okay, so this is clear. Now we will execute this and check how our result is coming. So we have altered the procedure. Now when we execute this procedure, then what statement it is providing? So see, so it is providing as expected. So hello viewers, please subscribe SQL Tutorial Abikacho channel, as we are predicting your age, which is 25 years, 3 months, 0 days, 6 hours, 37 minutes, 39 seconds today. Okay, so this is clear to everyone. Now how we can take two inputs from our side, means two dates, like if you want to check your date age at a certain period of time in future or in past also, then how we can use this. So for that, just you need to alter this procedure and then copy this. We will create a separate procedure for this. Okay, because this code I will provide you on our Telegram channel. So for this code and this particular calculator, you can reach out to our Telegram channel. For that, we have already provided the link. Here you can also scan, or you can also find that particular link on our channel, or in the description part also you will find that particular link. Okay, for our Telegram channel. So for making it, like for predicting age in future or past, you can also check. So just what you need to do, just put a comma here and put this end date as parameter, which is date time, and then remove this, comment out this particular, or remove, we will remove and create a, so create procedure age calculator future past, age calculator future past, future and past, future and past. Okay, so this looks good. Okay, now just you need to execute this sp. Okay, now when we go and use this particular sp and execute exec, so you can check the definition of this particular sp also. So how to check the definition, we have already discussed in our stored procedure video, because we are going to use the system stored procedure for checking the definition, which is sp underscore help. Okay, so here you can see two parameters it required, start date and end date, both are date time, and then here we will provide the two parameters to this particular sp, which is, let's check, 2000, someone has born in 1990, and then October 29th, and then at 10 a.m. and 20 minutes 15 seconds, and then he or she wants to check their age as of 2020. Okay, so we will pass the date of 2020, and then we will take 7th month, and then we will take 15 date, and then hour will be like 7 in the morning. They are checking their age, so people don't have any work these days, so they are going to check their ages. Okay, so that is the main thing for this particular session, and then 10 seconds. Okay, now execute this. So this will show us what is their age at this particular time. So hello viewer, your age is 29 years 8 months, and then 16 days, 21 hours, 55 minutes, 55 seconds as of 2020 to 2020 15th June or July, 15th July 2020. Okay, so this is clear how you can use the input output, and in future if they want, then that also they can check, like 2030 what will be their age. So execute this. Now we are getting the future days also, 39 years in 2030. So this is clear to everyone, and this is the end of the video. And this particular video you can use as your project also in your resume, and also you, while interviews, these type of question can be asked, like find the difference between two dates, exact difference between two dates and all. So this is a very helpful video for everyone, and thank you. Many more videos are on the way. Do like, share and subscribe. And many questions like interview questions also we upload on our channel, so you can check and watch that also. And for any help you can do us comment. If you don't understand this particular query, then you can comment us. We will create one more video for that, and what part you have not understand, that you can also provide to us. And one task also we can provide to you for according to this video. So you need to make what, you need to make a calculator, okay, similar to this one, but that will show what, that will show the same thing. So you can create a same calculator and comment if you have created that and achieved this particular thing. Okay, so thank you for watching. Thank you everyone. Keep watching, stay connected. Thank you.